most of you are wide awake, so let me give you about a little 5 or 10 minute synopsis on our story about Cambodia. Pam and I are passionate about travel. We've been together for 11 years now, and when we first met, I said, "Hi, my name is Danny. Do you have a passport?" And she said, "Yes, I do." And I said, "Okay, good. I just didn't want to waste any time on you if you didn't have it," because I like to travel. And it turns out that she was also passionate about that, so we hit it off, and we wound up falling in love and being married and traveling around the world. And we've had just an absolutely great run, much to, because of the fact that I've had a great management team and a great partner, and they've allowed me to do that when we wanted to go do it. Anyway, this wasn't anything that we particularly planned, but we were traveling through Southeast Asia about 5 years ago. We were in Cambodia, a place that I'd always wanted to go, visit Angkor Wat. We were traveling on our own, but we arranged for a guide, and we were with this young man for about 3 days, and his name was Surin, and he was a great guide, took us around to all the temples. In the process, we really kind of like to get a little more involved in the history and the culture of wherever we're visiting. We asked if he could take us to maybe a village and tell us a little bit more. He was very open about how they're, well, most of you know the story of Cambodia and the genocide and the Khmer Rouge and how they just took the society down to nothing, and so they've basically been rebuilding from nothing. Anyway, he was very passionate about the plight of the children, how many of them had no opportunity for education, there was difficulty with their water, so we talked about this. I had been in the irrigation business, I knew about water wells, and I said, "Well, how much does it cost to drill a water well that they can get clean water?" And he says, "Actually, I've arranged to have a couple of those drilled, and I can do it for $300. I said, "Okay, that's interesting." So we finished our tour. As we were saying goodbye and getting on the plane, Pam and I talked about it and decided that we would take a chance here. So as we left, I gave Surin an envelope and had $300 in it, and I said, "If it's all right, we'd like to have you drill a well in one of the little villages that we visited and see to it that maybe the kids have better access to clean water." He was very grateful, said no problem, he could do that, we appreciated it very much. We got on the plane, I said to Pam, "Okay, we either did a really good thing or we gave this guy a really big tip."
Yeah.
But surprisingly enough, a couple of weeks later, we got an email from Surin, had pictures. He had pictures drilling the well, laying concrete pad, putting the pump in. And then he sent us, about a week later, a picture of the villagers standing behind the well with a big sign saying, "Thank you, Danny and Pam, for providing this well." We thought that was really cool. Shared it with our family, and they thought it was really cool, and they said, "Man, could we do that too?" And I said, "Well, I think so." And I said, "If Surin's willing." So we gathered up about $1,000 and sent it back to Surin and said, "Can you do 3 more wells?" Oh, he was thrilled. He said, "No problem, that's great. I'm not working, my guide business is a little slow. I've got plenty of time to do that." So he drilled 3 more wells. Same thing, sent us all pictures, documented everything that he did. And he said, "But there's $100 left." And I said, "Well, that's yours, keep it. You have expenses." And he says, "Thank you very much," but he says, "I really appreciate what you've done. Would you mind if I took the $100 and I bought some school supplies for the children going to government school, because the government doesn't supply them with anything?" And we said, "Hey, Surin, that's great, whatever you'd like to do." Well, about a week later, we'll get pictures of him handing out school supplies to the kids. About a week later, then he sends me an email and he says, "Would you like to help me build a school?" Well, drilling a well is one thing, building a school is a little different story. But we started exchanging emails back and forth, and he had this plan. There was a village that was far away from the school. The young children had no way to get to school. It was a very, very poor village, subsistence level only. He had a piece of land right in the middle of the village that he said was, he could get. The land was free. He wanted to build this little schoolhouse. And I said, "Well, how much does this cost?" And he says, "We can build a schoolhouse for $900. And we went back and forth. And anyway, we got excited about the plan. Pam and I talked about it back and forth, and she says, "Hey, this really sounds cool. Why don't we do this?" I said, "Okay, let's do it." So we told Surin, "Yeah, we'll send you the money. You can build a schoolhouse." All right, 3 weeks later, I'm seeing pictures of the schoolhouse going up. I mean, he's right on it. It's a wood and a thatched roof, and the villagers are working on it, dirt floor. And we're expecting 50 to 60 kids, and we're hiring 2 teachers. So this is like July, August. School starts in September. Well, about August, we get pictures of all these kids showing up for school, and I said, "It's not September yet." And he says, "We got a building, we got 2 teachers, we're starting school right now." So Anyway, and I said, well, how many kids showed up? And he says, well, 90 kids showed up for registration. I said, ooh, how are you going to do that? He said, well, we'll do split sessions, morning, afternoon. Okay. And I said, what about September? And he said, well, we're getting everything lined up for September. We're kind of doing preschool. So he writes me back a week later and he said, I need to let you know that we got 120 kids. I said, ooh, man. I said, how are you going to cram all those kids? We can't teach all those kids. I said, okay, you better go out and look around the village and find out how many kids are really there if the school is available to them. Anyway, he comes back and says, we could have 200 kids. And I said, okay, talk to Pam, talk to the rest of the family, and we said, what do you think? And they said, well, it sounds pretty good to us. It looks like we can do some good stuff over there. So we said, sending back an email and said, okay, build 3 more buildings, or build 2 more buildings, hire 6 teachers. Let's let the kids get an education. So that's what happened. We, by the September rolled around, we had 3 buildings, 6 teachers, and 191 kids in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, just 3 grades. So that was where the program started. So since that time, it's just kind of been one good thing happening after another. We became a little tourist attraction. We've built up some partnerships with some other charitable organizations. Over the 3 years, we've added a grade every year. So this year, we've got 5th grade. So we've got kindergarten through 5th. We built a brick and mortar library. It was the first brick and mortar building that we built. We wound up partnering with an organization that came in, drilled another well for us, put up latrine facilities and a water tank. That was all just stuff that we fell together. We were at a Kiwanis convention, bumped into a group that was doing a medical mission over into Cambodia. We put the pieces together. We wound up with some doctors and nurses at our school, putting all of our kids through medical exams and leaving medicines and things like that. Eventually, the rainy season kind of beat up these little cheap $900 buildings that we built, but we've been able to, between the family and some other generous donors, we've torn down all 3 of those buildings, built 3 more buildings out of brick and mortar. We've again added a grade every year, so we're up to 5th grade now. We're now at 420 students, 8 teachers, and security, and we've managed to build a fence around the school to add a little more security and safety and keep domestic animals from eating our buildings. We teach a fair amount of English in the classes because we think that gives the kids a greater opportunity to eventually have jobs in the tourist industry, which is growing in that particular area. We're looking at down the road, we can see the possibility of maybe doing some nutritional programs where we can possibly supply a meal today to the kids if we can get that program in place. We've partnered with a children's hospital not too far, and once a year they send their group out and run our kids through medical. So it's just been one great thing after another. And again, not that it was so much, not that it's that much money, because you get a huge bang for your buck there. I mean, we pay our teachers double what the government pays. We pay $100 a month. The government pays $50 a month. So we kind of get our pick of the best teachers. And so it's been an exciting project. We love sharing the story. We've got a website, and if any of you would like additional information, we send out a little newsletter once every 2 or 3 months, kind of letting you know about the updates. And we were very, very fortunate. We've traveled back 3 times. Our original visit, and then we've been back twice. And this last visit, we had it was particularly neat because Soren, who's just this young guy we've watched him grow through this process of becoming, such a good business guy, and he's never taken a salary from us either. We've kind of asked him to do that because of all the work that he's putting in, and he always comes back and says, no, this is something I want to do for my people. And he says, if my family starts hurting and my guide business goes to pot, or I don't have good income, I'll let you know. But other than that, I don't want you to have to provide for me. I want the money to go to the kids. And he says, I'm very appreciative of what you're doing and giving me this opportunity to do it. So that's fine as long as my guide business makes a living. I'm okay. So we think he's a very special young man. He's the one that's really made the whole thing happen. We just provided some resource for him. But it's an exciting plan, and it's an exciting program. We feel like we're making a little bit of difference in one little bitty piece of this world, and so I just encourage you, if you have an opportunity like that, and if you're traveling to Cambodia, let us know. We'll get you done. So, but anyway, that's our story. We love sharing it, and appreciate you taking a little extra time and letting me tell you about that. So,